Okay, Mark and Urban, thank you very much. I think that having attended already quite a lot of events on internet safety, I must say that this is probably the first presentation from Russia that I had an opportunity to listen to, and I'm sure that the audience will have a lot of questions. But I suggest that we leave the questions for the end, and we'll invite the next speaker, who is Altin Hazizaj from Children's Human Rights Center of Albania. Altin is one of the founders of this organization. He's been working in the field of child protection and human rights since 1993. He has also worked as a journalist and has published extensively on those issues. I also have to say that we already have some experience in working together, because Altin was responsible for launching a Child on the Web campaign in Albanian language, a campaign that was originally launched by my organization, Nobody's Children Foundation, in 2004 in Polish. So Altin, welcome.
Just need a few seconds. Number one, I mean, of course, I'm very pleased to be here, and I thank the Nobody's Children Foundation for inviting me to be part of this meeting and be able to share some of the, let's say, issues that we deal, let's say, from Albania. You said, I mean, Russia maybe is one of the first countries you are listing. More about these things. Albania will be the second one. So, very few information. I mean, normally I don't do this, but I mean, going out of Europe sometimes, Albania is only part of the bad news. I just want to give some good news of it. Maybe very little information about the country. We are one of the oldest countries in Europe, and let's say our language is part of the Indo-European languages groups, but we are a group in itself. I mean, we are a separate group again. We have land borders with Montenegro, Kosovo, Macedonia, Greece, and then we have sea borders with Italy, and as you can see from my map, more or less. Population of Albania, it is 3.6 million people, but out of these 1.1 million people live outside Albania, are not in the country. Children and young people make more or less, let's say, there is some changes in the data, but let's say up to 40% of the population of Albania. And as I said before, more than 1/3 of the population of the country has already immigrated mainly to Western countries. When it comes to government and institutions, I have to say that the communist system in Albania collapsed in 1991, and today, of course, we are a free and democratic country. Officially will become a member of NATO in next year, 2009, or hopefully so. And we hope that, again, by next year will be somehow considered to be, let's say, an accession country or a candidate member for EU. In 97, and maybe this is what you know about Albania, in 97 we had, let's say, the fall of the fraudulent schemes, or pyramid schemes as we call them. And of course there was a general discontent with the government, and this was followed by armed civil unrest, which of course caused, let's say, much of the destruction of the country, and mainly public institutions and public offices around Albania. However, during the last 11 years, I mean, we have been progressing quite a lot. I'm very pleased about that. And this is, of course, reflected to the overall improvement of economy, people's lives, not for everybody, of course. And what we see today actually is that we have a large division between those who have and those who don't. And of course we have an improvement of the political processes, but we're not all happy with them, of course. Albania is a parliamentary republic, and we have only a single chamber parliament. When it comes to children's rights, let's say children, young people, and Convention on the Rights of the Child, Albania ratified the CRC on, let's say, February 92 with a presidential decree, but until 2001, which means almost 10 years, we didn't have an official translation. And then you can guess, of course, how much the CRC was implemented in Albania. Still today, the CRC is not widely known, or either implemented by central or local government, justice system especially, but even society at large. Let's say still children's rights are a new thing for Albania. We lack a national authority for child care and protection. We are towards establishing, let's say, a system of child care and protection, but we're still quite far from it. And this, of course, makes it very difficult for children to be assessed, I mean, to be helped and to be assisted by institutions and NGOs alike. Nonetheless, there are several improvements, such as recently we have a National Secretariat for Children since 2 years. We have a child protection units in 7 municipalities of Albania. These are very new, let's say. Some of them have not even opened, but they're just being implemented. We have a children's section at the Ombudsman office, and this is a wonderful thing, actually. And of course, then we have what we call it family sections at the police stations, which are dealing with violence against family, but also violence against children. Although during the recent years the Albanian legal system has improved and many laws have changed, still I have to say that the laws in general are not child-friendly, and most of them do not take in consideration the best interest of the child. We don't have yet a children's code, or let's say a collection of child rights standards in legislation. Very few facts and figures about child exploitation in Albania. Trafficking of children is one of the major violations of children's rights in the country. I'm sure most of you have heard about it. It's not only Albania. There are many countries in Eastern Europe who are part of or let's say, who have been affected by child trafficking and women's trafficking. We believe, and also many UN agencies believe, that there are more than 6,000 children who have been trafficked for sexual and economical purposes, or even smuggled to Western countries between 1992 and 2007. During the last 2 years, though, the international trafficking, or let's say the cross-border trafficking, has diminished, but there is an increase of, let's say, of more than 100% of internal trafficking. And this is another problem. Although the Albanian legislation, our criminal code, does not specifically say that trafficking has to be internal or external to be punished, still the prosecutor offices mainly will punish or will have criminal cases against cross-border trafficking, but not internal one. And we're trying to work actually to change this kind of perception, which even in the law it doesn't exist actually. But child labor represents one of the main forms of exploitation of children within the country. Instat, which is our, let's say, national statistics institution, reports that 9.8% of children between 6 and 14 years of age are involved in labor activities. Thank you. Thanks. Again, with facts and figures, violence against children. I have to say that, I mean, this is a new thing now. I mean, this is one of the things we're talking more and more every day. It occurs more often, and it is in severe form within the family rather than, let's say, in schools or, let's say, in the communities. A recent UNICEF research found that mothers more frequently than fathers exercise violence against children. Still, I have to make a remark in here. Mother's violence, however, it is, let's say, less degrading and is not as severe as the father's violence. Fathers actually exercise less violence, but it is more severe. 1 in 2 children are reported of being smacked on the head or at home, and 1 in 3 children are reported of being smacked on the head at schools. 1 in 3 children are reported being verbally insulted at home, and 1 in 4 children are reported being verbally insulted in schools or at schools. 1 in 4 children are reported of being kicked at home, and 1 in 3 children are reported of being kicked at school. So you can see that, I mean, there is a wide, let's say, spread of violence, and this is one of the problems actually that we are facing nowadays in Albania. How much violence we have, whether it is at schools, in the family, or even in, let's say, in the society, in the communities where we live. Sorry about that. When it comes to internet in Albania, it is very new, I have to say. It is expensive still, but it is getting spread more and more every day because some other prices are coming down. I'll talk about some problems about it later on. As I said, I mean, during recent years, we have the internet usage actually has increased dramatically. One Western observer who has produced a report for ISPs in Albania stated specifically in one of these reports that it is generally assumed that the so-called new media are still making their baby steps on the Albanian ground. Indeed, in comparison with other countries, this sector is seriously underdeveloped. However, data from International Telecommunications Union, ITU, shows that there are 171,000 internet users as of August 2007 in Albania, or otherwise 13% of the population of Albania are using internet. Now, if we compare this with previous years, then we see what are the dangers are in here. So if you compare with the year 2006, but even with other years, we see that the internet usage has increased 6.2 times, sorry about this percentage in here, or otherwise almost 650% within 1 year. If we see the data, for example, we had 75,000 people using internet in 2006, while in 2007 we have 471,000. Legislation and policies. Albania has ratified all the major human rights instruments of United Nations, Council of Europe, etc. Albanian legal system has improved considerably, although few norms are in place to support the protection of children from abuse and exploitation. There is no child protection system in place to deal with cases and provide services to exploited children. I'll talk very little actually about, let's say, our criminal code and, let's say, the cyber crimes or crimes against children. The criminal code of Albania was approved in 1997, the new one. However, only in 2008, new amendments in January 2008, new amendments were put in place to protect children from pornography in the internet and exploitation. We had an article from 95 related to pornography, but it was rather not, let's say, not very clear when would have, let's say, child pornography. Forget about child pornography in the internet. Even as it is with the changes of 2008, we're still not very happy about it because it does lack, or it lacks again some protection parts that we thought were very important. Nonetheless, existing legal norms still do not prohibit, for example, storing of child pornography images or even holding child pornography images. It is rather dealing with distribution, etc. Several national strategies for children are in place, but none of them are dealing with keeping children and young people safe online. If you get the national strategy, which is being implemented from 2007 until 2013, there is no mentioning of child pornography online, or, let's say, any other aspects of dealing with protection of children and young people from internet, let's say. In a report of UNICEF, hasn't been published, is not made public yet, it is stated that none of the definitions used by the Criminal Code of Albania on children are consistent with legal obligations of the CRC as well as the one of the optional protocol. For example, I'm stating the Article 117 or 117, paragraph 1, which is the one who changed, actually, in 2008. The report states specifically that this article, under the pornography, despite anticipation of the prohibition of any production, deliverance, advertising, importing, selling, or publishing materials with pornographic content within the minor's environment, and this is one issue I have a question with the authorities, what does it mean within minors' environments, does not clearly define what exactly would be considered pornography and what types of environment might be related to children. So as you can see, we have some questions about the definitions that they are using. Although Albania ratified, and this is again stating in the report, ratified the Convention on Cybercrimes in 2002, unfortunately it has not yet adopted any laws or normative acts by which the ISPs are obliged by law to contribute on the prevention of publishing and expansion of child pornography materials, notwithstanding by blocking them automatically. Recently, the entry into force of the law 9918, this is not exactly specifically dealing with, let's say, with safety materials, I mean, let's say with the internet, etc. But still, there is some mentioning there about internet. Am I? Oh, 5 minutes. Okay. So the law actually, it is on electronic communication in the Republic of Albania, aims to promote the competition of the efficient infrastructure of the electronic communications, as well as to guarantee the necessary and proper services within the territory of Albania. The law regulates, among others, activity of the subjects of electronic communications. If we refer to Article 15 of this law, one of the main implementation requirements during the licensing, and this is produced by the new authority now, Authority of Electronic and Postal Communications in Albania, is the limitations in the transmission of the content of legal framework if the legal framework is being violated. APC is entitled of limiting or prohibiting the activity of entrepreneurs, let's say, or the companies of electronic communication for protecting the interests and the needs of the public. Internet and children in Albania. And just actually, I took this picture. Sorry, just a second to make any mistake. It's okay. This is a picture taken by, I think, by some well-known photographer. I've taken without permission, so maybe I'm breaking some laws in here. It's about children in Albania, but I just took this picture actually just to show how things can change within a very short time. I mean, these are children in Albania in 1997. And in 2008, actually, lots of children in Albania are using internet. There are some characteristics I have to mention in here. Internet is mainly used, and it seems it's a common characteristic, actually, with other European countries, by young people and, let's say, kind of middle-aged or younger people, let's say, in urban areas. Internet, although widely available, is not affordable for young people in rural areas. There is a limited number of ISPs and services, because, I mean, let's say the prices for, let's say, using the internet are still very high. Thus, it is more affordable by middle and high class people compared to lower classes. However, the internal migration of people from rural areas to urban ones has increased the chances of being or becoming in contact and using internet, especially from young people, because it is a novelty. And most of them actually are not even aware about let's say, the problems they might face by using it. We have a governmental policy and a governmental program in place to support the establishment of computer centers and internet in every school of Albania. This large project is making internet available not only to schools in urban areas, but also in rural areas largely funded by public funds. The privatization of our national telecom and the increase of internet usage opens a path for more, let's say, ISP companies to enter into the market, and actually the last few months we have seen lots of changes into that. This, although it is seen as a positive step towards the increase of access of children to information, without the proper protection of mechanisms, can become a tool for child exploitation. Just to mention the governmental program, I have to say that, I mean, lots of internet classes and computers and everything is being made available. However, no one in the government has so far been talking about how to protect children online. Taking into consideration the situation of children in Albania in one hand and the lack of appropriate legislation on the other, it is necessary to take several actions that would change the overall situation. For this, how much time I have? 2 minutes? Okay. For this, CRCA, the organization I work for, the Albanian Coalition Against Child Trafficking, our youth group actually in cooperation with ECPAT International and of course Nobody Children's Foundation, we had a national campaign actually, and we have taken so far several steps to raise the public awareness about internet safety, or let's say safety of children online. Among the major activities I can mention so far, and this is our poster, which is copy-paste, let's say, with very few amendments or changes from the Polish one. One change, actually, it was the name of the guy. It was, I don't remember it now, but Wojtek. We don't have that name in Albania, so we did it Bledi, which is a more Albanian name. But otherwise, I mean, everything else is the same. The poster received a very, very positive reception from all sorts of media, actually, and mainly, and we're very happy about it, from our education authority throughout Albania. And we have been distributing the poster in so many schools, and actually we're going to maybe reprint the poster because it is a very good thing. And very soon we are starting a web page, actually, a new web page of our organization, and this is going to be part of it, so people can access it online and get information about this campaign. What we did also, it was that we got the posters and an accompanying letter with it, and we sent it to all the Albanian MPs. 140 copies. Were asking them actually to increase the pressure and ask the government to act actually to improve the legislation. We've been organizing debates and awareness seminars actually, especially in schools, in high schools and universities, to raise awareness actually how to make a safe internet for children. In March 2008, we started actually as an organization. We believe this is a very important step of a new law for protection of children from abuse and exploitation. Internet safety might be part of it. We're still debating with our legal experts how we can make part of it. In April 2008, because of the campaign, finally the Ministry of Interior started to review the existing legislation with the aim to close all the gaps and make the internet safer to children and young people. And in July 2nd, the government of Albania actually agreed to start to draft the first children's code in Albania. This is more or less very shortly what I've done so far. Thank you.